railway conversation with Doc Frank.
Hello and welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Doc Frank, and my guest today is Khaled Daher, originally from Palestine but currently living and working in Jerusalem, Israel. Khaled is an expert in railway system installation and also a lecturer on the topic of smart cities at an online university in Barcelona, Spain. Our conversation covers the concept of smart cities and how railway systems fit into that, tips and tricks for installation on time, on budget, and at high quality, the differences between metro and monorail, and much more. This podcast is not sponsored by third parties, which means uninterrupted listening to the episodes for you, and I hope you appreciate and enjoy that. If you want to support the show to keep it going, there are two ways you can do it. One is the typical request for podcast: subscribe and share with your friends. The other one is specific to the show and myself. I host a training portal with arguably the world's most comprehensive course offer on digital signaling technologies and everything to do with high capacity. Some of my trainings are one of a kind, which means unique in the world. For example, the high capacity signaling blueprint, the high capacity railway mindset training, or most recently my course about digital signaling interoperability. All of those courses are online, so you can watch the lessons at times convenient for you and as often as you like. And there is an industry-leading Q&A support where I will answer your questions not just during your training, but at least for further 12 months after you completed your course. What you can do that would be really nice is checking out this training portal, which you find at docfranktraining.podia.com. That is docfranktraining.podia.com. And if you find that you or a coworker of you can benefit from any of those courses, I would be very happy to see you growing your knowledge, understanding, and confidence through any of my trainings. Thank you. But now, please do enjoy this episode. Khaled, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Frank. It's my pleasure to be with you today. And hopefully we'll have a good time to talk about railway in general, about smart mobility, and about the last trends on our field.
Yes. These are actually the two main topics that I want to talk about. So on the one hand, you have quite a diverse railway career, and we will talk about this in a moment. And then you also started an additional venture, almost like a side activity in the field of smart cities, which of course is also related to modern railway systems in cities. So we will talk about this as well. But for starters, just give us a quick overview of your career so far, which I believe has led you to many different countries.
Well, I started working in my home country in 2011 in Palestine as electrical engineer with the electrical company, distribution company. After that, I have moved to Emirates in Dubai to work with a construction company, biggest construction company in the Middle East in that time, called Arabtech. And that time, I moved from construction site to railway. So I joined a Riyadh Metro project with Alstom. After that, I joined Cairo monorail, and now I'm working in Jerusalem GNet project with CAF. Additionally, I'm also a lecturer with the Ziggurat Institute for as a smart city lecturer. I'm teaching about smart cities topics such as autonomous vehicles, smart mobility, driverless technology, which is it's a part of this smart world now, which is all the countries now running to be in smart cities, smart countries. As you know that in 2050, 60% of the world population will be living in smart cities. So my pleasure to be in this technology track and teaching these topics.
Yeah. Smart cities is a big topic. Sigurat is an online university which is based in Spain. Is that correct?
Well, yes, it's online teaching. It's in Spanish institute. It's under Barcelona University.
Mm.
So the students will get two certificates, one from Ziggurat Institute and one from Barcelona as a diploma.
Ah, okay. Okay.
And Ziggurat, by the way, they don't have only about smart cities. They have other programs like BIM, is like construction, engineering management. So they have another topics which is are really interested for the students. And the good thing is full online course.
Yes, yes. So that means you don't have to travel to Spain in order to give your lectures to the students.
Yes.
That's
Yeah, yeah,
good.
yeah. For sure, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Which tool do they work with actually?
Sorry.
Which tool do they work with for the online lessons? Is that with Zoom or
Uh,
with Teams, or have they got
yeah,
a
yeah.
specific one?
Yeah, we have Zoom classes two times per week, and for that following up with the students, we are using Canvas, we're using Trello, so many tools. So it's a follow up tools.
Hmm. 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 Yeah. Just being interested, comparing what an online university does in comparison with the online tools that I'm using for myself. For example, for this podcast here, which,
Yeah,
by the way, runs on Zoom. If anybody should wonder. Um, so
absolutely.
let's stay with smart cities for a moment. This podcast is obviously about railways. How do you see the relation or the role of railways in the concept of smart cities? How does that fit in?
Well, okay. Let us start a definition about a smart city, which is a smart city is a community where technology and data are utilized to improve the quality of life for residents, people, making services more efficient, accessible, and sustainable also while promoting safety and connectivity and civic engagement. When we are talking about connectivity and accessibility also, we're talking about smart mobility. So smart mobility, it's a main part, one of the main parts we can say in smart cities. Any smart city or smart country, when we talk about, okay, we need to move to smart cities, we are talking about smart mobility. We cannot leave this part alone, especially now. Smart cities is like pollution free, no emission of CO2. So we are talking about railway and smart mobility. Railway, you know that now the last technologies for railway is without any diesel engine now. It's a pure electrical system. Even now we have hydrogen train. So all these smart mobilities points are covering and meeting the target of the smart city, and smart mobility also. People should feel that in the city where they are living, no any pollution coming from the cars. They have fresh air always, and instead to go to the village or to go to the mountain, so they can live in the city with a lot of services, with a high standards of living, with fresh air, with the fresh, healthy conditions.
The term smart has been used quite heavily by a lot of people. So very often you see people calling something smart simply to express that it's slightly more intelligent than what the previous technology was. So even for incremental changes where you say, yeah, well, is it really smart or not? I mean,
No, yeah,
yeah.
it's traditional. Maybe we are talking about traditional things. It's not about smart or stupid, no, or smart or not smart. No, it's easier for people now. So smart cities integrate various sectors like transportation, energy, healthcare, intelligent urban environments. So previously, like we can talk about maybe 30 years ago, when you moved to Australia, the airplane or the transportation, it was maybe you need to use the sea, you need to use the airplane transit system, and you don't have maybe direct flight. Now we have the longest flight in the world, I think from Dubai to Auckland, or I think I don't remember the exactly, about it's around 18 hours. So instead to go, for example, from France to Italy by cars or by buses in 20, 25 hours, now we're talking about smart mobility, smart sectors. It's around maybe 2 hours by plane or 3 hours by TGV, or it's, we are making easier. Why we call it also smart? Because they are covering also, and they are interfacing interference with other systems. It's like we are watching the healthcare, the health of health condition for the passengers. We are making them like satisfied. We reduce the stress for them also. If you, for example, if we have smart mobility, smart cities, you had the forecast for your trips. The train when it will come and when it will reach without any, without any surprises. You get my point. For example, we have a flight or we have a train trip at 8 o'clock. You know that from 8 o'clock to 8:30, you will reach your destination, your company, your home, without any traffic jam in the streets or without anything. Now we have many stories, many examples from the street. We have the lanes for the buses or the lanes for the cars, or special cars like for the people and personal cars, and we have a lane for the metro or the tram, and you can see there's no traffic for the metro at all. So this is a smart. It's improving the quality of the life for the people. This is what I call smart. So the previous one, not about stupid or wrong. No, it's just like improving now. It's just to have the 5 stars service.
So it would be like recommending a transport mode which is least congested, or
Less congested, more safer, accident free. Now,
hmm,
if you travel, for example, from country to country with a train, I know it's like maybe one time per year, once per year to hear about the accidents of train in the world. But,
hmm.
for example, in your country, in my country, every day we hear about fatal accidents, even for cars, buses, and the people who's crossing the roads. So it's more safe. This is the most point also, and we can forecast and anticipate the time of reach and arrive when we can arrive to our destination. You get my point? So, well, for example, the public transportation bus is coming at 8 o'clock, so I can reach my company or my work at 8:10 or 8:15 with the GIS system and GPS. All this one now it can facilitate our life.
I'm still wondering. I understand what you say. I'm still wondering how, um, from the perspective of smart cities, you would see a railway system. So the last big project that you worked on in Alstom was the new metro system in Riyadh, which is the capital of Saudi Arabia. Now, if they I think they are probably relatively progressive in implementing new technologies. So when they built a new metro system just a few years ago, I would assume that if they have a vision of a smart city, that they would do something with that metro that would fit into that picture of a smart city. Would you consider, with your knowledge about smart city, would you consider Riyadh Metro to be a smart system that fits into that concept? And if so, what are some key features or characteristics of Riyadh Metro where you would say, see, this is an example for a smart city railway?
Well, now the Saudi Arabia now they are going now towards smart cities in all directions now, not in Riyadh only. Also, they have. I'll talk about Neom. I'll talk about it in a few minutes after. Riyadh Metro is a pure driverless metro. The Riyadh just implemented 6 lines there to cover around 176 kilometers
Hmm.
with a full buses system around 1,000 kilometers to cover the huge capital. It's one of the biggest capital in the world. So before the metro, traffic jam in the street are crazy. You cannot imagine when I have started there in 2015, the traffic jam in the street and delay and accidents on the streets, it was really horrible. But now with this new technology, with the new mind there, with the to 2030 vision, now they are going in the correct direction. And don't forget also that I need to mention about 2030, they have Expo there in Riyadh, north of Riyadh. And they have also in 2034 World Cup will be in Riyadh in Saudi Arabia, we can say.
Mm.
So they are going about smart cities and the government services in, for example, in Saudi Arabia and Riyadh also. When you go to your mobile, you can do everything. You can check your account. You can go to you book a service in the hospital. You can do everything with your mobile now. Even the government services like renew a book appointment to renew your passport or to get your permission. You know the service is there, and with your mobile services I did not see this in my life even. You know, I have been in Europe, I have been in other countries, but in Riyadh now, what they have started since like in the last 5 or 7 years, really you can see the difference. So when they started about Metro, Riyadh Metro now, they will start also interconnection between the cities, even other cities like Jeddah, like Dammam. They are talking about some projects there, Metro, tram, even monorail, as they are planning for that. And just they are waiting Riyadh Metro to see how it will be the impact for the people there, how they will use it, especially there. You know, there's one challenge now. The petrol price in Saudi Arabia and Riyadh is very cheap. So this will be one of the challenge, but I'm sure that the government there and the ministries they will find a solution to encourage the people, not to push, to encourage the people to use the public transportation system, which costs a lot, more than 22 billion of dollar. You know,
Mm, mm, mm.
so they are going in the correct direction. What this is about Riyadh now. Let's talk about the NEOM. It's not only smart city; it's a smart country. They are building country inside the country, which is fully smart system, fully smart city. It's including smart mobility. No cars there will be, no at all, just only smart mobility like high-speed train, trams, metros, and this is all be fully clean energy, just to ensure that the people and the citizens they will have fresh air, fresh weather there, and they are now also creating like gardens there, like Green Riyadh. So they have a lot of initiatives, which is unbelievable. I really appreciate that. So
Yeah.
they are they are achieving the target of the smart cities, like clean transportation, clean energy, healthcare with services, intelligent urban environment. You know, the citizens for them is number one. So they are moving towards smart cities in very very good way.
So, can you say that I mean the signaling technology for Riyadh Metro was certainly CBTC, I guess, if it
CBTC,
was
yeah,
driverless.
CBTC, yeah, CBTC, yeah,
So,
CBTC Robali is for.
so can you say that CBTC applications these days are usually uh, aligned with that smart cities concept, or are there any things where you say, well, yeah, some applications are and some applications are not, and if so, what are the differences? So what does a CBTC application needs to have to fit into this mold of a smart city?
Well, okay, when we are talking about CBTC driverless mode, it's for sure you are now you are supporting and making sure that the smart city is going in the good direction. Autonomous vehicles, driverless technology. It's about technology and communication for the between the trains. So CBTC, as we know that we have interlocking, we have communication systems, we have ATC, ATB, all other functions. I will not go deeply about them, but it's aligned with the smart cities, which is part of the smart mobility. So for sure, it's a part of the smart cities and it's aligned, regardless CBTC or other system. We are using other companies, but it's really yes, because now you will have efficient way of smart mobility, and smart mobility they are aligned for that.
I would imagine that it's probably not so much the CBTC, the signaling itself. It's more the peripheral systems that contribute to smart cities. So, for example, in CBTC, you know very exactly where the trains are at any point in time. And if you can use this data to connect with a, say, passenger information system on an app, where a passenger approaching a metro station can basically see that the next train is 2 minutes away, or 3 minutes away, or 30 seconds away, or whatever, that they basically know whether they need to hurry up to catch the next train, or whether they have just missed one and they can go slowly and still get the next train. um, is and also you could also use that data obviously for journey planning. Like if you coordinate, say you come from the airport, you coordinate your travel to where you want to go, which may be partly by metro, partly by bus, or maybe you need a taxi for the last bit because there's no public transport. So is this use of data in line with what you would consider a smart city?
Well, okay. We can anticipate for this one. We need to mention that about the headway for the trains there is not high. So we are
Mm,
talking about headway starting from 2 minutes. So if I miss the train because of the traffic of in the streets, if I miss the train because of the traffic inside the station, so I can take the next train in 2 minutes, starting from 2 minutes.
yeah,
And
yeah,
also, the passenger information systems screens that in the it's which are available on stations, which are available also on our mobile, so we can anticipate our trip.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
the anticipation for and forecast for to plan our trip, starting, from our home, we can see, for example, bus number 1A will leave the station, which is my near home, to go to the metro station needs around 5 minutes. So I can come like 7 minutes before. So we can wait 2 minutes. I can plan also the trip A to trip B, to station A to station E, to transfer station, to move to change the train. It's very easy. As I told you, the headway is not that much like high speed every half an hour or 1 hour. No, it's about a few minutes only.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
it's not a big matter. But in all cases, I need to anticipate, just to be early. I prefer to wait in station few minutes better than to wait in home just okay because I need to do something.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the information, if you have short headways, the information relevant is probably whether you have any disturbance of the traffic. So whether trains are running pretty much on schedule, so you can expect really a train every 2 minutes or every 3 minutes or so, or whether there's a disruption where you say other train services are delayed, next train in the station is 20 minutes away or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
So
yeah,
we can plan our trips in proper way.
yeah. Um, let's circle back to your career. Your recent positions were all related to installation work. Um, and for this podcast, that's a relatively new topic. We had a few episodes quite a while ago, which were about testing and commissioning. And but installation so far we haven't really talked about that much. So what do you think are the specific challenges to do installation of signaling systems in order to do it right, to do it well, and to support the overall project?
Well, the challenges for railway installation, starting from the culture of people, they think that the standards or quality of work for railway installation can be similar to the construction work, like building, like streets, like street lighting, which is totally wrong.
Yeah,
So the challenge is starting to check the subcontractor, to make an audit for the subcontractor, to choose our subcontractor. Normally, before to start any construction or installation work for signaling, even for other departments, be power supply, communication, for depot equipment or others, we are checking the subcontractors to check their profile, their experience, their resources, and if they have a training done before. Because if we have any issue early during the audit, it will be a nightmare for us. I can go deeply about this topic for installation, for example. If we have any mistake when we are installing the signaling equipment or power supply or BSD platform scan doors, will impact not only installation, it will impact testing and commissioning tomorrow, and operation safety of the full system. We need to remember that if we do small mistakes, this is safety standards. It's a fatal accident can happen tomorrow because of small things, because of silly things, because of the wire was not, just was not fitting well or crimping well. I'll go deeply again in a few seconds. So we need to choose our subcontractor first, about their experience, about their profiles, about they're willing to learn. We know that many companies, many countries, they don't have railway. project before. So we need to train them, to teach them, and to check their behavior. They are willing to learn or not. We
Mm,
can support them by using, for example, mock-ups. So we can install, for example, the first equipment on the track, first equipment in the technical room, first equipment on in the station, with the photos, with the steps, like like IKEA catalog. When they have a IKEA catalog, so we can explain to them A to Z. Okay, this bolt here, this wire here, this color of wire here. So we need to make to simplify the steps of installation. After that, we can check, okay, if we agree with the client, we agree with the quality team, we need to involve all the stakeholders to get their approval and to let them be involved in our step of installation. So after that, we can go to next step to start the preparation for installation on track and the technical room on the stations, cable pulling also, because again, as I said, to avoid or to anticipate the risk in advance. Small mistakes can, if we have 3 or 4 lines, small mistakes is if we start by mistake can, multiply by like 5,000 of hours of losses. So, for example, if we have 1,000 axle counter, if we have 30 technical rooms, you can imagine the rework or retrofit work, it can cost us a lot. So we need to train our people to make sure that they understand the work in the correct way. And as our part from installation company, so we need to ensure that they have a documentation, they have standards, they have materials, and they have trainings. And we call it, the preparation for installation. We call it, like, before to start any activities, we call it 4M, like a readiness template. We need to fill it in advance to ensure that the people, they are really can start the work in safe conditions with a full experience in advance. We know that we can, if we are working hard, we can do the mistakes. To do the mistakes is not a shame or some bad things, but we need to anticipate them and to anticipate the risk in advance. Now, uh, okay, one example of my life, we had an issue for installation about a crimping topic. I know for building or construction work is not a big matter. They can use, like, any tool for crimping of the cables, the head of cables. But in railway, trust me, is a special process for that. Crimping of the cables, like, torque tightening of the bolts. Especially we are talking about the equipment with high vibration on the track. So if you imagine that point machine without any torque tightening done properly, so the point machine can dance after several movements. So the cables, when we terminate the cables with the racks, the cable frame, relay frame, with any servers, if we do not make it in a proper way, also the cable can lose after maybe a few weeks or a few months, and the impact will be huge. So to do the proper job, maybe it can cost us 1 hour more or 1 day more, but to repeat the job tomorrow when passengers on the train, it will cost us a lot. Find to troubleshoot, to find the mistakes, so to apply, to call the engineers who install it. Maybe the documentation was not on the site, or no as built even. So we need to ensure that we are doing the proper job in the first time. This is the small introduction about the installation. I know it will take a lot of time. I need to explain in details, but we need just to ensure that our people are aware about the step of works, materials are approved as per the client list, and the client quality and standards, and make sure that we are using high quality of materials to avoid which are against fire, against temperature, again, everything. Again, railway is specific field, so we need to pay more attention about it.
mm, mm. Well, it's definitely a good idea to have a bit of a wider horizon, not just saying, well, I need to tighten the screw and then I'm done, but also considering the railway environment. As you said, vibration is a big topic. I liked your analogy of a dancing point machine. Yeah, I was just imagining it when you mentioned it.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, these training activities that you mentioned, is this an additional activity that you plan in at the beginning of a project? Or do you say, well, we do that training at the beginning, but then we save some time later on and we reduce the rework, and so all up the effort that we need for installation is about the same, so we don't need to plan anything extra? How does it work?
Well, okay. For the training is another story. For example, when we start the audit for the subcontractor, we explain to them technical documents in advance. Okay, guys, this is the technical room layout. This is the typical drawing for the equipment, the transformer, equipment for uh, communication system, DCS, and this is for the beacons, this for Excel counter. So we explain to them in high level details what are the installation they will have, and we are doing like we can say like welcome training for them. Okay, guys, this is the equipment here. This is the welcome training we are making in the warehouse, just to give them an idea about what we have in design, what we have in actual life, just to show them the equipment they will install. Now, for the training, it should start in the beginning with a mock-up. So when the mock-up, for example, in the 1st of January of 2024, we have a mock-up, so we go together with them. Okay, guys, this is a track. This is the holes. We need to mark the holes based on the drawing. So we can have like tolerance. Our tolerance is small. You cannot say plus minus 10 meters. No, we're talking about a few centimeters, which is defined by engineering.
Hmm.
So we show them the site. We show them the equipment. The training for torque tightening and the crimping is with my previous company, Alstom, is a specific special process and a special training for this one. I was certified to do this one with from France team. So we are doing the training theoretical part. We show them presentation with the full information, the information about how we can do it, what are the impact, what are the risks if we can avoid it, and the practical part, the second half of the training with the tools, with the wires, we can go to the site and we can do it together with them. And the third part of the training is a small exam, real exam. We show them, okay, you have 10 samples of the wires. You can tell me what are the mistakes here. It's fine, not fine. So this is the not one time. This is, for example, during the mock-up. During the work, we ensure that our supervisor, our construction managers on site, they are following them. Just they have to ensure that they have to subcontractor has to ensure that they are applying the principles of the installation as we have trained them, and can be done every 6 months. Refresh training for the same team. If we have a new newcomer or new people, we need to train them. So the certificate normally is valid for 6 months in case you are using every day. But if you are not using, for example, I making crimping maybe every 1 year, no, your certificates will be expired because you forget typically you forget the principles. You get my point? So it's like a refresh training always about it. We need to ensure that the installation happens in 1st of January 2024, exactly same in 2026. So we cannot have like non-uniformity of installation. We cannot have non-uniformity of just like a principle. So we need to make sure that all the work is uniform.
So that sounds a
We
lot
can
like
we
competency
Yeah.
management specifically for installation. So it sounds like you have a register of people working on site together with an overview of their current certificates, and then you probably have some kind of warning system where you see, okay, well, end of the week there are 5 guys whose certificate in, say, crimping expires, so we need to get them a retraining this week, so because they need to keep working on that same job beyond the 6 months, and and they need to
Yeah.
maintain their competency.
Yeah. We used to have for them a full register with their certificates. The certificates of the people who certified as special process crimper or torque tightening should be on site. The certificate should be attached during the inspection with the client with the quality. So this equipment, we know that on day one, on time, for example, 3 p.m. has been done by this guy. So tomorrow, if we have any mistakes, okay, my friend, you are here, so your name is here. So well done, we can say if no mistakes. And if we have some mistakes, we need to rectify. And we wish that we did not have several mistakes. So we can follow up. Okay, for example, Mr. Mark, you have done Excel counter one. Okay. And you have done Excel counter two, three, four. So we can follow up which equipment has been done by this guy. And we can manage the installation in very good way
So that
to
means if
ensure
you
that no mistakes.
So that means if you find an installation mistake, a minor mistake at exit counter number 1, you can basically look up and see the same installer has also done 2, 3, and 4. So that means you know which other exit counters to look at because they may have the same installation mistake if it was a systemic one.
Yes,
If you just
yes.
didn't remember how to, I don't know, wire it correctly or something like that.
No, no, for sure. And normally we cannot have it, several Excel counters. We should have it, and we can detect. We should detect. We should have detected the mistakes on the beginning,
Yeah.
and to avoid to repeat it. But now we have supervisor, we have construction manager, we have project manager. So this is the railway installation. So the follow up, the technician, he cannot do the mistake several times without detection. It can happen. It happens with us. The crimping in our my previous was nightmare, and we paid a lot. We suffered a lot about time and money. So now, after that, we had a retrofit plan, and now we are aligned for this one, and we are now distributing the information with all the projects how to avoid it. So we as we said, we learn from our pain, or
Yeah. 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 Um, with regards to installation, I've been promoting a concept recently over the last 2 years or so, also teaching this in my training courses, which I call zero disruption delivery of railway projects. That basically means that you can install and test a new technology, for example CBTC, under certain conditions without disrupting ongoing train services. So installation is something, depending on what time of the day you do it, where you might need to shut down the railway, or you can do it at times, for example, during the night when train services are not disrupted. So how do you normally do that? Is this any consideration to minimize the disruption of train services and install equipment in a way that ideally you're not losing any services in an existing railway?
Well, okay, this is my current project in Jerusalem. We call it like we are working engineering hours for installing some new equipment. We are working because it's two lines are together. One brown field and one green field. So the nightmare is coming with the brown field. We need to install the new equipment and to ensure that the service is not interrupting. So we are working in
Yeah.
the night
Yeah.
where no passengers, no train, and during the day, we are installing the equipment and in the new area, which is was virgin, we can say it. So it's a brown field is always a nightmare and difficult for us. So we need to install the new equipment and to reach one step. Okay, it's called migration. Okay, we can call the client. We need just to disconnect maybe the line for long weekends or in the holiday, or we can agree with the client about to disconnect the service, the train service. Okay, because we need to make migration, migration of the system from old to new. But for that, for sure, we need to ensure that the software is fine, the equipment is fine, engineering accepted what has been installed so far. So before migration, so we cannot switch the line. Imagine that we are moving from old to new and end of the shift. Is that working? No. So we need to ensure that the technology is really working. The communication, signaling, power supply, everything done. I know it's a brownfield is really not easy job, but it's a challenge. We need to learn from it.
Yeah.
Especially if we
Yeah.
are talking about, yeah, especially in Jerusalem, for example, the technology was from Alstom, now it's a SCAF, so we need to make the change. Okay, it's in new technology we are implementing now, so it's a challenge, but we are able to perform it in the proper way.
Hmm. In your profile, you mentioned that your strength is to finish projects on cost and on time. How do you do it? What's your magic recipe to do that in an industry where project delays and budget overruns happen much too often, for my taste anyway?
Okay, we can say now the mega project or giga projects delay can happen due to many reasons, internal or external. In the big projects such as railway, don't forget also our partners, civil work, technical room readiness, track readiness, the equipment delivery from outside. But anticipation always will be great. So we should have two plans. Okay, the plan with the client, for example, we need to finish the project by end of 2024. But internal plan, okay, guys, we need to finish the project by September 2024. So we have a margin around 3 months. We need to push ourselves about in September to do everything possible, like to call the suppliers to accelerate fabrication to delivery, because delivery of the materials now it's a key point. We need to also to sit with our partners. Okay, guys, we have a commitment, we have milestone to be delivered by end of September, and we need one, two, three, four to be finished in advance. We need to define a clear list for our partners, to our stakeholders, but our priority. Okay, if the milestones, for example, in September, I don't need to express or to share my priority list, which is the next year. So we can give a priority list for our partners, our subcontractors, our suppliers, to define what we need exactly. In case, and can be happen, in case we have some delay from one entity, two entities, we can start highlight it in advance. We can raise a flag, guys. If you, for example, my partner, civil work or track work, they have an issue for turnout installation. So we can, follow up meeting every day or maybe two times per day. Guys, we need to finish this turnout by today or by next week in order to install my equipment on time. We have delivery issue, for example, from Europe, delivery issue from which any countries, we can start talk with the client. Okay, guys, can you please support us because we have the issue with the customs. Okay, this is external issue, for example. If we have internal issue about the resources, we can hire additional people just to accelerate the plan instead to make it in 10 months. We can maybe reduce it to 8 months or 7 months if it's possible. We need to consider that not affecting the quality of work. So many points are controlling these things, but the key point is the plan. We need to ensure that we don't we have everything. We have a clear scope of work. We have a clear idea what we need to deliver, and we are aligned with the milestones. Again, the the project, mega project railway is not everything should be delivery by end of the year. No, it's like a phases, phase one, phase two, phase three. We know that we have transfer stations, we have track section, which is are little late because in the side city and tunnel. So we can delay, make it phases. We can agree with the client. Okay, phase one, including the first 10 stations, phase two, including the five station, and the phase three is including the last two stations. And phase one will be delivered in 2024, phase two in mid of 2025, and the last phase will be in 2026, for example. They accept, we sign, and we need to follow up and keep the client is aware about the progress. In case we have a blocking point, external blocking point, the client, he will support and he will be happy to share his knowledge and their motivation also. Because if we win, they will win. For example, if we have end of 2024, the delivery of the first phase, and the passengers on the street, traffic jam, and the streets are open, and a lot of a lot of blocking point in the streets. If we are getting delay 1 month, the country will pay a lot because of traffic, because of the environment there. So we need the communication and the plan is the key.
Hmm. Quick change of topics again before we wrap up. For a while you were at Alstom, you worked on two projects in parallel. One was the Riyadh Metro, we talked about this already, and the other one was the monorail in Cairo in Egypt. What's, from your perspective, the differences between a normal metro system on rail and a monorail system with regards to signaling?
Yes, okay. The signaling different two systems which I work. For Riyadh Metro, it was CBTC Eurobalise 400. For monorail, it was another software from Bombardier, which is now is Alstom. It's called
Mm.
City Flow. This is in terms of signaling. Now the equipment, we can say are equivalent. So the Excel counter is Excel counter. Beacons is calling knowing point. The turnout is calling switching beam. The communication system, the antennas are almost the same. Power supply, third rail, third rail. But in term the monorail, when we talk about the monorail, the first picture I have it about the track. A monorail runs on a single rail, while metro runs on two parallel rails. This is a concrete rail, and this one it's like metallic one. I'm talking about the metro. Metro is running in metallic rails, and the other one is concrete. Vehicle design. It's monorail vehicles are wider and more capsule-like, while metro are little smaller and more compact. Capacity and speed, we can talk about almost similar, 80 kilometers per hour. Most of them, two of them. Cost, I think monorails are often used for shorter distance or specific locations like tourist destinations, while metros are part of comprehensive citywide transportation networks. A monorail, like sometimes, are cheaper to build, especially if they are elevated. We have many challenges about evacuation system for monorail. It's a challenge point and the key point, but in Cairo they have it emergency walkway, so almost the same. Emergency walkway for the metro, emergency walkway for the monorail, so almost the same. But in terms of installation, signaling or power supply, almost the same. We have technical room equipment. We have track equipment like both of them, Excel counters, point machines, third rail, we have communication systems, and almost same. Also, we have platform screen doors for both systems.
Yeah. Well, I guess the point machines look a little bit different, or the points themselves look a little bit different for monorail. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
yeah.
it's called switch beam actually. Switch beam is a very big one. However, for metro it's a small one. We use MATR from Oslo, from Alstom. So
Hmm. And exit counters work with monorail?
well, Excel counter we installed for the tram. It's from Froscher,
Hmm.
for metro, and tram from Froscher. For monorail, it's from another company. It's called Altibro. It's different. It's because the axle counter, the metro or the tram is like installed below the track, the metallic track. Like we have A, B, and distances. We need to respect them, 45 millimeters and 5 millimeter from track. However, for monorail, it's totally different because it will be installed above the beam to ensure that the wheel of the monorail passing it. So a totally different design, and it's different concept for switch beam area and main line area or depot area. So three or four configuration for each of them. However, for the metro or tram, it's one configuration. We used to install RSR 180 and with different two supports.
Hmm.
The main difference I can tell you about the beacons. The beacons for tramway, for example, we are now installing in Jerusalem passive passive beacons. We have smart beacons, non-smart beacons. It's different because the configuration, because we have junctions, we have streets, we have a lot of traffic area, and for tram. For metro, we installed beacons, normal one, the Wi-Fi beacons, which was programmed in advance. However, for monorail, it's called norming point. The configuration, it will be installed vertical. This is the monorail itself, and the beacon will be installed in the beam, vertical. However, for metro or tram, will be installed in the track in a horizontal way, and the shape even different. For the monorail, is a small black device, and for the metro, it's yellow one.
Interesting. So you definitely have had a lot of variety in your work. Um, Time's up. Thank you very much for your time. I wish you all the best for your current project in Jerusalem, which, as you said, is a mix of greenfield and brownfield, which I believe makes it quite interesting. So I hope you can finish it again on time and on budget. That would be really good. Thanks for being a guest on the show.
Thank you, Frank. It's my pleasure also to meet you. Keep in touch, and always happy to talk about railway and to meet the experts around the world.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you for your time. Bye bye.
Hi, it's Doc Frank again. I hope you liked today's episode. I like to keep it as simple as possible, so I only have one single request for you. If you like this podcast, please tell your friends and colleagues about it. That's all I want, because that's a service that I'm providing to the industry, and I would like as many people as possible to listen to this podcast and learn something from it. So please share. And until next time, keep it simple and bye for now. Thank you for listening.